I declare the council meeting open at 8 minutes past 6 this evening. Good evening, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting today is being held on Wajak Noongar Budja, and I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. I thank all past and present members of the community that have supported the city to better understand and value Noongar culture within the city of Wanneroo. I invite you to bow your head in prayer. Lord, we thank you for blessing our city, our community and our council. Guide us all in our decision-making to act fairly, without fear or favour, and with compassion, integrity, wisdom and honesty. May we show true leadership, be inclusive of all, and guide all of the city's people and many families to a prosperous future that all may share. We ask this in your name. Amen. Please note that the audio-visual proceedings of tonight's meeting will be live broadcast online with the exception of matters discussed behind closed doors. The broadcast of the proceedings of the meeting can be accessed live and on demand through the City of Wanneroo YouTube channel. Apologies and leave of absence. We have parental leave with Councillor Moore and everyone else is here this evening, which is wonderful. There are no requests for a leave of absence. We now go to item 3, public question and statement time. The following general rules apply to public question and statement time. Public questions and statements should only relate to the business of local government and should not be a personal statement or opinion. Only questions relating to matters affecting the local government will be considered at a council meeting, and only questions that relate to the purpose of the meeting will be considered at a special council meeting. Questions may be taken on notice and responded to after the meeting. Questions may not be directed at specific council members or a city employee. Questions are not to be framed in such a way as to reflect adversely on a particular council member or a city employee. First priority will be given to persons who are asking questions relating to items on the current council meeting agenda, and second priority will be given to public statements. Only public statements regarding items on the council agenda under consideration will be heard. Each person seeking to ask questions or make a statement may address the council for a maximum of 3 minutes each. We've had some statements sent to us by 2 members of the city, and the first one is from Mr Peter Wallace from Yanship. It's about PQ01 525, and I've been asked to read this statement out. The statement is regarding Parkland Drive, Yanship, speed calming. For the past 12 years, there has been one entry and exit into the Yanship Golf Estate. Not only is this a highly dangerous situation, but has caused 5 minor accidents due to speed. It's only a matter of time until there's a serious accident. We, the residents, ask for a solution to the problem. You know the number of vehicles coming in and out. Please take action. I would also like to bring the fire and the impossible evacuation of the estate with the one way out was blocked by the fire engines filling up with water too dangerous to express my anger. However, feel free to ask. Mr Wallace, would you like to speak any further on this statement? Thank you. We now go to a statement by Ms P. Lukatelec and Ms T. Duffy about PQ020525. It's a statement regarding car park usage on rural properties. Due to health reasons, we are unable to attend the meeting to read our deputation and statement on behalf of the property owners at 240 and 258 Neves Road in Marriginia. We live on rural property that is deferred urban. We are owners of properties that have been affected greatly by the car park use of neighbours storing caravans, boats, etc. for the past 5 years. Even though the Minister of Planning refused this land usage on the property, it is ongoing. Our properties have only ever been used for lifestyle living and are not affected by any water loss. The neighbours have a large licence of 17,000 kilolitres and 75 avocado trees. Personal use, apparently. that use 45 litres of water a day to grow. We have lost our privacy due to the closeness of these vehicles to our homes. We are long, narrow blocks, so they have visual access to our entries, garages and sheds. 14 metres from private garage and entry on one property and 5 metres from private drive into the garage. The entry to the property is several hundred metres from a blind corner on Neves Road that has increased dramatically with traffic and especially trucks. It is common to hear the truck's horns going madly as they turn entry. The public think it is a matter of just dropping these vehicles in 5 minutes, but this is not the case. It takes time to manoeuvre, unhitch and set up the van to leave, and all the time car's engine is running or reversing and beeping sounds are going. And they have access 24 hours a day, so have had vans leaving at 3 a.m. in the morning. They also come and do maintenance, so it is like living in an industrial zone, not of rural character. Sadly, to accommodate a large number of vehicles, many trees have been removed and hard base laid down for bays. The trees in the background are the neighbours. Photo 4 and photo 5 was in December before they enlarged the parking area once again, and photos 1, 2 and 3 are now. If they are doing this when the refusal from the Minister is still in effect and they have no scheme amendment approved or any changes to DPS2 to allow this, how do we have faith in the City of Wanneroo to comply with their policies and the DPLH or any other planning policies? It has been a very expensive fight for the last 5 years, not only financially but also emotionally and health-wise. We have tried to get council members to come out and see what we live with and to talk to us, but no response. We are now having to enlist the help of a town planner and a lawyer once again. We can only hope you look closely at where you allow this to happen. As you know, this property is not on the peripheral side of the rural area. It is the main industry on the land, has huge visual impacts and has had a huge impact on the land. The city's criteria, and it still exists with the city knowing and supporting it. Thank you for your time. And I have Mr. J. Manella from Ashby, and he would like to ask a question. Is Mr. Manella in the chamber this evening? Okay, I'll see if he turns up a little bit later. Would Mr. Tan Mint Doan like to come and ask his question and just tell us your name and the suburb you live in? Thank you. Just come to the podium. Thank you.
Hello. Yep. Dear Mayor and Councillor, my name is Tan Min Doan. I live in number 5 Paris Road in Aluka. The reason I came today is to talk about the land that we own at 12 Rainhole Place in Karabura. Our family has been here 30 years, and we growing vegetable. That's we're growing tomato, Roma tomato, cherry tomatoes, grape tomato, Brussels peas, and strawberry. Our family has been doing for three generations, from my dad, myself, and my son. Myself has been 20 years in the industry. We have been on the land over 12 years on the land. We got a lot of workers. This is all it's my family, my kids, and a lot of workers who currently work on our property, rental property. And we understand that is going to be developed in the future. Just in the meantime, we have been farming there for so long. A lot of family has been working on the land with us. With the short notice, we have nowhere to look for the land in the meantime. Wanneroo has been developed in Wanneroo quite and a lot of land has moving out and out into Jinjin area. what we're growing is a flower fruit like tomato, and that's not suitable going to the Jinjin area where we have been trying to look for the land in the past month, and when we got the notice. Our family, my kids, has been growing with the land since they're born till now. Our family is very passionate with growing and farming. It's one of the hardest jobs, but it's also give us a passion, and we all love it. Currently we got 60 workers working on off-peak at our farm, and 110 on-peak during on-peak. The investment we have putting throughout the year that we've been there, and it's calculate up to 1.2 to 1.3 millions. We have put in nearly $500,000 only last 2 years. We didn't know that it's going to be that early, that we couldn't have enough time to actually make back our investment. We actually supply direct to Woolworth and Coles, and we got a contract with them. Without the land that we in, the contract going to be cancelled, and it's going to affect a lot of our workers and our family. We're very happy that it's very passionate that we've been supporting Eastern State with all the severe weather in the last year. Our produce in Perth is a window where the weather, and we have grown to support the food shortage and the flooding, and to help the price. We have our family have been doing all of that with the worker that we working together. We actually donate to a telethon. Our family also donate to Perth Children's Hospital. We also donate to other countries where they've been flooded with the family business that we have. We got that potential to support. We also support different farmers who's not good with English. We actually work with them and sharing information. We certify all the certificate full requirement. We invest a lot into water irrigation for dripping instead of overhead. We're using very minimum water. We have investing a lot of money into a new system to control water where we can grow better crops. We have a lot of training for worker and support many overseas worker who came to Australia try to make a living, and without many knowledge, we have trained a lot of worker in our farms. What we asking today, we understand develop will be benefit for public in the future. What we're asking today is that we can stay till the time development start. We happy to support and respect, but we really want to stay and grow every day and support our family and our work and what we do until that day happen. If we have to go now, we don't know where we're going to go, where we're going to move all our crop. The crop normally takes 6 months to 1 year. We have been paying the council, the government in full up to this day, and the contract is we can't just say stop. It's going to affect a lot of our business moving forward. We have put a lot of effort looking for land. It's just not the right time where we can get the land that we move out. So we did contribute what we can to the community. We create a lot of job, and our family also supporting a lot of community. We're supporting a lot of rural Vietnamese that not good with English and is still growing. We are a place where they come and discuss and share information. we actually learn a lot of new system technique to control water, and we hope that there's opportunity for us to stay as long as possible until the development date. In the meantime, we're still looking for a different place to move. When the times come, we still search for that. We take it serious, but we do hope council let us stay and continue farming. And with all the contribution that we can do to the community when we're there, is support the fresh produce, on all the fresh produce and the worker, and a lot of businesses that we involve with. If we have to stop tomorrow, we really don't know how we're gonna work with them. Thank you, I hope you understand.
Thank you, Mr Don, and thank you for your statement. I'm sure council will be aware of that later on when we discuss the item later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor.
Is there anyone in the chamber that has any questions to ask? You've finished your deputation. Do you have a question?
Sorry, Mayor, I thought I don't have a question. I just come with my heart, and hopefully that our family and the worker here that today came, we don't have enough seats, so I just have enough, and I hope we show all our feeling, and hope we got the chance to stay as long as we can.
Thank you, Mr Don. Is Joshua Manella in the chamber? Thank you. You can sit down now. Thank you. Is Joshua Manella in the chamber? Okay, so he's not here this evening. Okay, confirmation. We now go to item 4, confirmation of minutes. Item OC010425, minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 22nd of April 2025. Do I have a mover and seconder for these minutes? Moved, Councillor Wright. Seconder, Councillor Huntley. Would you anyone want to speak to these? Councillors, please cast your vote. Councillor Miles? That's 13. I'm missing. We should have 14, shouldn't we?
Councillor Newlan's has been deactivated because he was on a leave of absence. So
Okay, Councillor Newen. Okay, so that's 14, so that's passed unanimously. We now go to SCO 10525, minutes of the special council meeting held on the 6th of May 2025. Could I have a mover and seconder for this? Moved, Deputy Mayor Rowe. Seconded, Councillor Miles. Deputy Mayor Rowe, would you like to speak to this? Councillor Miles? Any speakers against? If there are no speakers against, councillors, please cast your vote. And so there were 12 for, 1 against, and no, 13 for and 1 against. Councillor Bedworth. Okay, thank you. We now go to announcements by the Mayor without discussion. Firstly, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank the Deputy Mayor James Rowe for his support while I was overseas. My time overseas was more than just travel. It was an opportunity for personal growth and professional development. I had the privilege of meeting with Mayor Sim, Goodmanson and Kobayashi from Vancouver, Langford and Colwood. Each mayor brought unique insights informed by the needs and ambitions of their respective communities. Our discussions were both stimulating and thought-provoking. We explored some of the most critical issues facing local governments today: climate change, innovation and sustainability. These conversations highlighted the importance of taking bold but practical steps in shaping resilient and future-focused communities. Whether it was through infrastructure, innovation or community-led sustainability programs, the experience broadened my understanding of what's possible and what's necessary. It also reminded me that while each city has its own character, the challenges we face are often shared. There is real value in learning from one another, and I return with fresh perspectives, new ideas, and a stronger sense of purpose as we continue our own journey towards a more sustainable and forward-thinking future. Let's keep working together for stronger, more connected communities. Item 6, do we have any questions from council members? Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to ask the Director of Community and Place for an update on the lease proposal for Quins Mindari Surf Life Saving Club, please.
Ms Davis.
Thank you, Councillor, for your question. The community consultation process has now closed, and an item reporting the outcome of that consultation is being tabled for Council to consider. Would you like me to go into some of that detail?
Could I
Councillor
just
Berry?
ask if the administration has received an email from the Quins Mindari Surf Life Saving Club in regard to that lease and what they would like to do with it going forward? Thank you.
Ms Davis.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your clarification. Yes, administration has received correspondence from Quins Mindari Surf Life Saving Club, and that they, at this point in time, would not like to go ahead with an exclusive lease.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from councillors? If there are no other questions, we now go to petitions. I have a petition being presented by Councillor Berry. Do you have a seconder?
Councillor Bedworth.
Okay. Would you like to read the petition out? Thank you.
I would. I'd just like to foreshadow. That's why I asked the councillor a question prior to this petition. So this petition says, we request the Quins Surf Life Saving Club be stopped from taking the toddler room at the Quins Mindari Community Centre for use as a storage room, and given North Coastal Children's Community Choir and other groups the rights to roll over their yearly lease of the toddler room at Quins Mindari Community Centre to Quins Road Mindari. It was signed by total signatures of 82, 63 of those living within the city of Wanneroo. So I put this petition forward, even though we've just heard from the Director of Community and Place. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bedworth. Do you want to speak to the petition? Councillors, please cast your vote to accept the petition. And that is passed unanimously. We now go on to a petition from Councillor Smith. Do we have a seconder for your petition, Councillor Smith?
Would Councillor Parker like to second? Thank you.
Councillor Smith, would you like to present the petition, please?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a petition from members of Biggles Loves Addison group, which gather daily at Addison Park with their pet dogs, many of who I met last night, which was very nice. So they've submitted a petition that requests for the installation of the following public amenities: group seating, picnic table, shade shelter, barbecue, and a dog water fountain on the northwestern side of Addison Park in Merriwa. There is a total of 332 signatures.
Thank you. Councillor Parker, would you like to speak to the petition?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Councillors, please cast your vote to accept the petition.
Mr. Duran would like to speak again, but it's up to you.
Yes, Mr. Duran.
The guy he was talking about.
That's been passed unanimously by the councillors. Thank you. We now go to item 8, reports. Declarations of interest by council members, including the nature and extent of which the interests are to be made at the commencement of the item to which the interest relates. Declarations of interest forms are to be completed and handed to the Chief Executive Officer. Councillor Coetzee?
May I please ask if item 9 may be brought forward, please?
Your motion on notice MN 010525, is that correct? Do you have a seconder?
Councillor Miles.
Miles. Councillors, could you please vote to bring MN 010525 forward to in the agenda? Thank you. And that is passed unanimously. We now go to item MN 010525. Councillor Coetzee, do you have a seconder for that item?
Councillor Miles.
Thank you. Councillor Coetzee, would you like to speak to the item?
Yes, please, but may I please ask a question first?
Yes.
It's most probably Mr. Singh who needs to give the answer on this one. Can I have an explanation of just why $40,000 for rubberized speed cushions?
Mr. Singh.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We've done this a desktop analysis of what may be required if Council supports this the motion, and included in that estimated cost is a contingency for any streetlight adjustments. If streetlight adjustments are not required, then cost potentially will come down.
Thank you. Councillor Coetzee, would you like to speak to this item?
Yes, please. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Wallace that's here tonight. Thank you. And also to Mr. Wallace and the residents who brought this important issue to our attention. Thank you. I would also like to thank the administration, Mr. Craig Wansberg, Mr. Ian Ireland, Mr. Aminder Singh, Mr. Lionel Nicholson, and Mr. Mark Dixon, and also Councillor Miles for joining me at the on-site meeting on the 1st of May. And thank you to administration for the swift action in deploying the speed trailer on Parkland Drive. The Yanchep Golf Estate is facing numerous challenges, and it is crucial that we address them collectively. The Yanchep Golf Estate is a beautiful suburb, but Parkland Drive, the sole road for entry and exit, was originally constructed as the access road for the first stage of the subdivision around the Yanchep Golf Course back in 2012. Now, after 13 years, we find ourselves relying on just one entrance and exit. This becomes particularly concerning during emergencies, as demonstrated in severe fires 5 years ago, when residents struggled to evacuate. Although there was a proposed emergency dirt road leading to Yanchep Beach Road, the unfortunate explosion of the nearby petrol station hindered safe access. We have been informed that a second road along Greenside Drive connected to a new roundabout on Yanchep Beach Road is set to be constructed and opened by early 2026. Personally, I think it might take 1.5 or 2 years from experience. However, in the meantime, the estate continues to struggle with a serious speeding issue on Parkland Drive. This road is frequently crossed by both school children and adults. Residents trying to exit their properties, facing the alarming reality of speeding vehicles, including those racing around the corner coming from Maker Drive. This situation presents a significant danger to our community, and we cannot afford to wait. While we predict the completion of the new access road, which is still 1 year or 2 away, I'm asking for your support in installing removable rubberized speed cushions along Parkland Drive. These speed cushions can effectively mitigate the current risks, as they are adjustable and can be easily removed or modified in response to future traffic conditions once the new road is operational. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Coetzee. Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to this item?
Just briefly, Councillor Coetzee's actually articulated very well the issue there. It has been some time where they've only had the one entry point, and clearly there needs to be the secondary. We know there's going to be another fire. We know it will come through. There's been 2 over the last 10 years up in Yanchep, especially in that area. So we need to accommodate the safety aspects from my perspective. I do want to thank the administration staff that was on site, Mayor. They were very good and articulate with the residents that were there and taking the concerns. and I would just request council endorse this motion.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against this motion on notice? Councillor Berry.
It's not to speak against. I've just got a question, if I could, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead,
Can I
Councillor
ask
Berry.
administration in Yanchep and Two Rocks? I can't think of any. Is there any other estates that only have one entry and exit point? I know Capricorn, Jindawi, etc. don't, but is there any others? Thank you.
Mr Dixon.
Madam Mayor, from the top of my head, I can't think of any estates. However, there may be some. I just can't think of them at this point in time.
Can I just ask a question? The area where North Shore College is, that only has one fire exit from there as well, which is the same situation as Parkland Drive. No, there's not. There's only one. It was approved with two, but when the train station went through, they only had one, and when we protested about it, they left it as one. They're in the process of building down south, but at the moment it still only has one fire exit. Sorry, we'll check that on further notice, sorry. Any other questions on this item? Councillor Herridge.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick one from me. The $40,000 that's in the admin comment, can we have confirmed that that is the full amount? There won't be anything else that's additional, so everything has been taken into consideration?
Mr Singh.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is based on our desktop analysis for installation of 2 sets of speed cushions, which probably won't require any civil work. This is primarily for traffic management, the actual cost of rubberized cushions, and street lighting adjustments if needed.
Thank you. Councillor Herridge, another question?
Yeah, thank you. Just a subsequent. So that means that these can be removed at a time when they're no longer needed?
Mr Singh.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. That's possible. That's in the admin comments, and I think the motion also suggests that once the second road is constructed, we can do a further traffic assessment and determine the need for it, ongoing need, or whether they need it or not.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Bedworth.
Thank you, Baron, through yourself. So just wondering, there seem to be 2 issues here for me, one about the speeding traffic and one about the emergency egress. Can it be explained to the council what effect speed cushions and LATMs have on vehicles wishing to evacuate in an urgent situation?
Mr Singh.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The speed cushions in the residential streets which are installed, they're all trafficable. So, and the speed limit generally in that area is 50 kilometers per hour. So they are designed for that kind of traffic. So I wouldn't suspect any issues which may arise if the local community has to evacuate.
Councillor Bedworth.
Thank you. And just another question that struck me. Do you have the data for how many vehicles are actually exceeding the speed limit? Because I do note the 85th percentile speed was below the default for a residential area.
Mr Singh.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We took some traffic counts back in February 2025. They're at 2 locations. One as you enter Parkland Drive from Yanchep Beach Road, one a little bit further north. The traffic numbers do vary. So one side has got initial entrance has got more traffic vehicles per day, which is about just 2,500 vehicles per day. Further north is about 950, and the speeding traffic is less than, it's close to 0.6% maximum who are speeding more than 60 kilometers per hour.
Any other questions? Any speakers against the motion on notice? Councillor Parker.
Thank you. And I'm not really speaking against, but I do want to speak against. I think when I see this type of thing, I'm reminded constantly by phone calls that I doubt there's a councillor around these chambers tonight that doesn't get phone calls about speeding traffic on local roads. So I have a real problem with trying to go ahead of our list, which obviously we have our percentiles. It goes to a list and this road gets it first, second, third, fourth, and so forth and so forth. when somebody comes to me, the first thing I say to them is, look, I'm happy to put a CRM in for you. I'm happy to discuss this for you. But you do have to understand that by coming to me, I can't speed up the process. So I think this is the issue that I have with motions on notice that try and get ahead of the other very dangerous roads and speeding roads throughout the city. So if I'm speaking against, it's along those lines that I understand there are many, many roads that require treatments, and I find it really difficult to put one before the other, and this is why we have a process with our traffic assessments, because it is difficult to do that. So this is why I don't swear by traffic assessments, but I do accept that we have to have a process and we have to go through it to ensure that all of our residents, who all have the same problems at the moment, are being treated fairly. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Parker. Do I have a speaker for the motion on notice? Do I have a speaker against? Councillor Coetzee, would you like the right of reply?
No, thank you.
Okay, so councillors, cast your vote. And the motion on notice is passed. 10 councillors for, 4 against. Those against, Councillor Smith, Councillor Parker, Councillor Bedworth and Councillor Herridge. Those for are myself, Councillor Seif, Councillor Newen, Councillor Huntley, Councillor Figg, Councillor Rowe, Councillor Wright, Councillor Miles, Councillor Berry and Councillor Coetzee. I was just wondering, would you bringing a procedural motion, are you? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I know our farmers are early risers and they don't want to be keeping them here for too long for work tomorrow. If I could move item MN030525, Councillor Miles' notice of motion, Alkimos Regional Open Space, forward.
Do I have a seconder for bringing it forward? I'll go with Councillor Bedworth. Councillors, please cast your vote to bring item motion on notice MN030524 forward, please. Councillor Coetzee, Councillor Smith, Councillor Berry, Councillor Figg, Councillor Parker. And there we are. The procedural motion is passed unanimously. So, Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to your motion on notice MN030525?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And my seconder is Councillor Huntley tonight.
Sorry?
Councillor Huntley is the seconder for this item.
Councillor Huntley is the seconder.
Land is one of her passions. Councillors, for those that might be looking for this item, it's actually for some reason in a supplementary folder for tonight's meeting. Administration has been working over the last several months alongside the WAPC to try and get some action on extending the lease. At the moment, Mr. Dewan is actually only being given, or was only being given, a 12-month lease every time. Now, because he was only being given a 12-month lease every time, it was very hard for him to understand where his lease may end and where he may obviously not do the investments rightly as so. What I did ask administration through Paul Greer's team and obviously through Director Jennings' team is if they could actually start making some contact with the planning, the WAPC, to see if we can get a longer lease that would then just carry over to us as a council. We know through our budgeting and our workshops that the Alkimos Regional Open Space is probably still 3 to 5 years away from us doing any work on there. We've still got planning to do. We've still got to understand what's going to be put on that site in total. So I don't see the reason why we would want to accept a piece of land from the Planning Commission that is absolutely fallow. It's got nothing on there. and Mr. Doohan would have to rip up all of his bores, rip up his sprinklers, take down his sheds and what have you, and hand over a piece of land that has nothing on it. For us then possibly, when we did receive the lease, to then put it out for possible lease for a couple of years, 3-4 years. Administration have, as I say, got a good comment in there. As I say, they've been working with it. On this occasion, I'm requesting that our Chief Executive Officer writes to the chairperson of the West Australian Planning Commission, who is responsible for this land. So this land is not with any other agents, not with the Department of Lands, it's with the WA Planning Commission. That's who purchased the land, and they're the people that will obviously hand this land over to the city at some time in the future. I would like to keep all of these people employed for a few more years, and more importantly, as Mr. Doohan was said earlier tonight, councillors, that it is a major growing space for product that can't just be grown up the road. The weather patterns from Gingin and Wanneroo are totally different, especially in the mornings with the colder climates and the frosts, as well as other growers are struggling to grow lettuce and that also further up the road. So there needs to be some very careful decision making. I'm in support of attempting to try to get this lease extended. Administration is happy with that. This gives our CEO permission to write to the West Australian Planning Commission and attempt to get some further extension of time, and or if they can hand it over to the city, then we can obviously work through a lease negotiation through the property team that Mr. Greer is part of. To me, it's a fairly simple request. We're not saying we're going to grant it, but we're saying that we need to obviously work extensively to try and make it happen. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Miles. Councillor Nguyen, you have a declaration.
Thank you, Mayor. I do like to declare a impartiality interest. I have in the past declared that the tenant of 12 Reinhold Place, Karabuda, is a former client of my law firm, which I own. So I declare that I will make the decision, the decision on this matter on its merit, and I will vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Huntley, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, look, this piece of land is obviously already cultivated for farming. It would be an absolute travesty to move this off, and then they may have to find another piece of land. Certainly, if they go over to Gingin, that is being farmed quite... it's already land high in demand for farming, so there is very little chance of getting a lease over there, and I know I feel your pain over there. It's also a different soil content, and there's a lot more salt, so in some of the land that is available, it would not be suitable to put tomatoes in there, so you couldn't do it. This is going to be here for a good few years. I do think it is an opportunity for the land to remain weed-free and looked after. And certainly, you can't say there isn't enough hands on that piece of land to warrant them staying. So I would say to all my fellow councillors, please vote for this.
Thank you, Councillor Huntley. Do we have any speakers against this item? Councillor Bedworth.
Yeah, just a question, if I may, Mayor, through yourself. Just for the sake of clarity, given the meritorious nature of this, are we correct in thinking that ultimately the decision rests elsewhere and not with the city?
Mr. Dixon? Or it's Ms. Jennings, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. The land is owned by West Australian Planning Commission and they have the current lease, hence why the recommendation is to write to the West Australian Planning Commission.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Any speakers against the motion on notice? If there are no speakers against the motion on notice, Councillor Miles, do you want the right of reply? Councillors, please cast your vote. And that is passed unanimously. The motion on notice is passed unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Miles, for your motion on notice, and thank you everyone for coming out this evening. You may go home now if you want to. You've been successful.
Madam Mayor, could you just make that clear that it's a letter, not that they've been successful to stay?
Oh, yes, we are sending a letter to the WAPC. That's what we're doing, okay? Councillor Parker.
Could I just say something?
Yes.
Excuse me. Could I just say thank you so much, all of you, for coming out tonight. It's really wonderful to see everybody and the love that you have for your land. And thank you for your heartfelt speech. It was really fantastic. I've always believed that we have a food basket that we have to tend to. I'm sorry to see how things are going to go in the future, and I hope that we can support you as much as we can. So thank you so much all for coming out tonight.
Thanks, Councillor. Thank you for listening.
So it's up to you.
Okay, councillors, do I have a mover to go into confidential to do the confidential at this point in time? Or I will move to go into confidential, and if I can have a seconder. Moved myself, seconded Councillor Berry. Can we take a vote to go into confidential for our confidential items now, please? It's a procedural motion. There's no questions on a procedural motion. Please cast your vote. Oh, Councillor Nguyen has left the room. Okay, so it's been passed unanimously to go behind closed doors for the closed door items right now. And so if we just, yeah, no problem. So if we just leave the room, thank you. We have to vote to open the doors first. Councillor Huntley and Councillor Parker. And that is passed unanimously. We'll just wait for it to go on air before I read the outcome of the confidential items. I have you, I put them there like that. Have you got the numbers for and against though? No. That was unanimous, the audit charter. And the meeting is reopened to the public. For item in the confidential session, for item CRO 10525, the internal audit charter, Council accepts the recommendation of the Audit and Risk Committee and endorses the updated internal audit charter as set out in attachment 2. For CR02 525, the CEO performance review, we endorse the recommendation is item 1 that Council endorses by absolute majority the report prepared by Ms Natalie Lincoln for the Chief Executive Officer's 24-25 performance review set out at attachment 4 and accepts the recommendations within, and 2, authorises the Mayor to execute any required legal documentation to give effect to the recommendations in the report prepared by Ms Natalie Lincoln for the Chief Executive Officer's 2024-2025 performance review set out at attachment 4. We had 11 supporting and 2 councillors against, which were Councillor Parker and Councillor Berry. For item CR030525, the Alkimos Aquatic and Recreation Centre operational management, that recommendation is that Council approves the recommendation contained within the report and in accordance with attachment 1. That was passed with 1 councillor against, which was Councillor Figg. Rest of the councillors, other 12 supporting it. Item CR04525, Strategic Land Opportunity Proposed Acquisition. The recommendation was that Council endorses by absolute majority the recommendations as contained in the confidential report, and that was passed unanimously by all councillors present in the room. We will now resume the agenda proper. And we go to item PSO 10525, final consideration of draft local planning strategy following public advertising. Do I have a mover and seconder for the substantive? Moved Councillor Wright. Seconder? Councillor Parker. Councillor Miles, do you have an amendment that you want to bring first? Do you have a seconder for your amendment?
Seconder for my amendment would be Councillor Huntley.
Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to your amendment?
Yeah, thank you, Council. I just wanted to touch base. Item 5 is pretty inert. However, through my initial contact and through, I do want to thank the Deputy Mayor as well, to make the Minister for Planning aware that this amendment is coming up tonight, requesting him to support to support the components within this particular strategy, particularly to do with parking caravans, boats and trailers on rural land in the planning scheme and future planning scheme number 3. And councillors, whilst this doesn't seem to be a major issue in general, it's a very quiet and strong issue because it's all about what I consider the Aussie dream. People like to go boating, people come here, they like to go caravanning on the weekend. However, with with the changes to our neighbourhoods becoming smaller homes, our front yards are no longer, well, some of them aren't even able to park a normal sized car on. We need to get this strategy done appropriately, and we need to be able to get the support up on behalf of the Minister to instruct his agency to allow us to put in our district planning scheme the parking caravan, boats and trailers within that. It is a lifestyle issue, but it's also a lifestyle issue for the people that are living in suburbs where you might have a neighbour that has a 5 or 6 metre boat or a caravan that's, quite large, and they try to do the right thing by parking it off street. They're not allowed to park it on its own on the street. That goes against some of our parking rules and regulations. And this issue is actually a lot larger than just here in the city of Wanneroo. I know in Sydney suburbs, they're doing all sorts of things now because people have a caravan, they're parking it in the street and it might be attached to a car. If it's there longer than 6 hours, they're getting told to move it on. It's just, those sort of things I don't want to see happen here in the city of Wanneroo. Obviously, on our fringe areas, we have rural areas that in some cases are desolate. They don't have water. They can't grow anything. And there needs to be a use. Land has to be used and should be used. And this is a good use within the document under, and just for those that want to know, under section 7.25 of the strategy, this is the part of the strategy that I'm talking about, that we do need to obviously get this up and sooner rather than later, because it's what I call a triple whammy. This helps not only the suburbs by reducing those trailers, those camper trailers and boats and the like. It also helps with people in the rural areas that are currently got no prospect of earning any income from their property, and it also keeps this style of use out of employment areas. Our employment areas are for employment. They are for the factories. They are for uses that we need for employment use, not to store equipment and not just to use those factory units to keep caravans and boats in. So I'm asking Council to accept my amendment and to then for the Mayor obviously to write to the Minister and seek his support to get 7.25 up especially in this strategy to make sure that we can actually make good use of some of our rural areas that are desolate. This will obviously add, there should be some good use to our community as a whole, but it'll also make a very good structure for another sector of business. We are always looking for small business within our area. It's another business that's going to grow. It's going to employ people because obviously, people will go out there. There'll be security people employed, and all all of that comes from it. So, councillors, I do ask that you support my amendment. It's amendment number 5. You would have received it on your notice papers booklet tonight. It's pretty straightforward. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Miles. Councillor Huntley, would you like to speak to this item?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So obviously this is going to create jobs in the rural sector, but not only that, we have to think of what's happened after COVID. And after COVID, obviously people brought caravans, trailers and whatever, had to work from home. And now they're finding that especially if their home is quite small or they've got density increasing in their neighbourhoods, that their trailers now, their work trailers, which they're still using because their whole role and their lives have changed, the way we work has changed, and so a lot of people now work from home, they've got trailers, and we've already heard from some community members who absolutely can't stand someone's trailer being next to their home or blocking their sight line when they're exiting their driveways. So these trailers become a real hazard and a real problem, but they're an essential thing for our small businesses to actually continue. So if they could actually park somewhere, it would be pretty good for them. The other thing is, obviously, caravans, and the boats encourage tourism. People want to travel around in their caravans. What do they do with them, though, when they've stopped touring? So this becomes a real issue as well. Again, we just don't have in high-density urban areas, and that is what we're going to experience. That is what we're putting in place, or the state government's putting in place for us. There will be no room. These are going to be heavily high-density urban areas, and there is no room for people to have a trailer, for people to have a caravan, or any sizable boat beyond 5 metres in their driveway, which really is going to create huge problems for our residents in the future. 600,000 people expected to come here. There is going to be a lot of caravans, a lot of trailers. We have to have somewhere to put them. It will be a very, very narrow-minded person who does not consider this as a real issue in the future. So I would ask you all to support this, and hopefully we'll get it through. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Huntley. Do we have any speakers against the amendment? If there are no speakers, have a question? Councillor Bedworth.
Thank you, Mayor. And through yourself, whilst not entirely in opposition of this amendment, I do recall asking a question towards the end of last year about changing the local parking laws and reviewing that to accommodate people who do have caravans and boats in residential areas, because not everybody lives near a rural storage location. And I'm just wondering if I can get an answer to when those reviews and amendments may be coming.
Ms Thrush.
Through you, Mayor, we are working towards getting some information to Forum probably after the elections. So it's likely to be November, December. This was delayed due to the request for administration to do more work in the Verge area.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any speakers against? If there are no speakers against, councillors, we will now vote on the amendment. And the amendment is passed unanimously. We now go to the substantive as moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor Parker. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to the substantive?
Thank you, Mayor. Other than just to thank the city's administration staff for the work they've done on this document, I know councillors have been very robust in the questioning. However, I just want to thank the staff that it is a very comprehensive document, and we have tested the veracity to make sure that everyone is comfortable with what the next phase of planning will look like at the City of Wanneroo. And I think I'm certainly looking forward to the next district structure scheme coming to us to be able to start working out what the next phase of the City of Wanneroo is going to look like. So I do hope that the WAPC and department do consider the issues that we have brought up and continue to advocate for in this document. And I look forward to hopefully receiving an email from the administration with the confirmation of approval for this document. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Parker, would you like to speak to this item?
Nothing further to add other than saying thank you for an excellent report. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any speakers against the substantive as amended? If there are no speakers against, councillors, please cast your vote. And that is passed unanimously. I now go to item PSO 20525, close of advertising, modifications to local planning policy 5.3, East Wanneroo local development contribution plan provisions. Do I have a mover for this item? Councillor Miles. Do I have a seconder for this item? Councillor Huntley. Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to this item?
Just briefly, thank you, Mayor. It is very important that we obviously get our developer contribution plans in order. We know that this area is going to take off relatively fast, and if we don't have something in place, those funds that should come in for us to build future roads and other infrastructure along the way could be delayed because money won't be coming in at the rate it should be. So I'm very supportive of administration's recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Miles. Councillor Huntley, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Are there any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against, councillors, please cast your vote. And that is passed unanimously. We now go to approval services, PSO 30525, consideration of amendment number 232 to District Planning Scheme number 2, lots 8, 10 and 811 Wanneroo Road, Wanneroo. Do I have a mover and seconder for this, please? Moved, Councillor Wright. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Miles. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to this item?
No, better not, Mayor.
Any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, councillors, please cast your vote. And that's passed unanimously. PSO 40525, consideration of amendment 224 to District Planning Scheme number 2 following advertising, part normalisation of land affected by the lots 1 and 102 Yanchep Beach Road, Yanchep Jindawi West, agreed local structure plan number 40, and lots 1 and 2 Yanchep Beach Road, Yanchep Jindawi East, agreed local structure plan number 76. Do I have a mover and seconder for this item? Moved, Councillor Figg, seconded, Councillor Coetzee. Councillor Figg, do you want to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Mayor. Very straightforward. Thank you.
Councillor Coetzee, would you like to speak to this item?
Not happy with it, thank you.
Any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, councillors, cast your vote. And that is passed unanimously. We now go to Asset Operations and Services, ASO 1525, petition PTO 40225, Lansdale Primary School parking issues. Councillor Herridge, you have a declaration?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. With regard to item ASO 10525, petition Lansdale Primary School parking issues, I disclose that I am on the board as a community member, and as a consequence there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Thank you, Councillor Herridge. Do I have a mover and seconder for this item? Moved, Councillor Herridge, seconded. Councillor Parker. Councillor Herridge, would you like to speak to this item?
Only briefly, just to put it to the floor. It's quite a strange one to actually have this come across us. Being a member of the community for a very long time, I was confused, so were a couple of people that got in touch with me. So, yeah, thank you.
Councillor Parker, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thanks, Mayor.
Okay, any speakers against this item? There are no speakers against this item. Councillor, please cast your vote. Okay, this item has been carried unanimously. We have one of the councillors out of the room at the moment. ASO 20525, tender 25051, Fleet Workshop change rooms upgrade. We have a disclosure of interest from Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. With regard to item ASO 20525, tender 25051, Fleet Workshop change rooms upgrade, I disclose that I'm involved with Programmed as part of my employment with their training services department. And as a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Thank you. Do I have a mover and seconder for this item? Moved, Councillor Miles, seconded Deputy Mayor Rowe. Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to this item? Deputy Mayor Rowe, would you like to speak to this item? Do I have any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, councillors, please cast your vote. And that has been passed unanimously with 12 councillors in the room. We now go to item ASO 30225, contract 251 supply and lay bituminous surfacing and associated civil works final 2-year contract extension. Do I have a mover and seconder for this item? Moved Councillor Berry, seconded Councillor Wright. Councillor Berry, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to this item? Are there any speakers against? If there are no speakers against, councillors, please cast your vote. And that has been passed unanimously with 12 councillors in the room. We now go to Community and Place, CPO 10425, response to PTO 30225, Frangipani Park, Marangaroo, request for upgrades. Do I have a mover and seconder of the substantive? Moved Councillor Herridge. Do I have a seconder of the substantive? Councillor Parker.
Mayor, I wish to note that I have an amendment that will be seconded by Councillor Seif.
Deputy Mayor Rowe, would you like to speak to the amendment?
Thank you, Mayor. The amendment was uploaded to the Hub last week and it is in front of us this evening. It is a minor change which you'll be able to see, and I just want to quickly introduce the reasons why I think it's necessary. The first is that the park is eligible for this type of infrastructure that has been requested by the petition under Local Planning Policy 4.3. This is basic infrastructure. I'm sure you would agree, council members, this is shade and water. I think those are regarded as the basic infrastructure that people would need to be able to go to a neighbourhood park like this for leisure and recreation. The other comment I wish to make, other than saying that I think it's reasonable, is that these cases will continue to come up in established suburbs because as we were developed, we did not have developer contribution funds where parcels of money could be invested into public infrastructure. We relied entirely on the time and ever since on municipal funding to be able to invest in those types of infrastructure. I don't actually know how the park has gone for as long as it has without a drink fountain. I actually think that's mind-boggling. So what I would say in presenting the amendment before you tonight is that this investment is overdue. It is much needed. It has been requested by the community. It is at a reasonable cost. And the reason for the amendment is that administration had said that it was eligible for and it would be included in the LTFP, but from my questions at briefing session, you may recall the LTFP is a 20-year document. There was no specificity on when it would be included in those years. So what I'm trying to do is provide the community with the certainty that they will be able to receive that infrastructure, that basic infrastructure, in the upcoming budget. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Rowe. Councillor Seif, would you like to speak to this item?
Just to reinforce the point that this is very basic infrastructure, shade and water.
Thank you. Do I have any speakers against the amendment? If there are no speakers against the amendment, councillors, please cast your vote on the amendment. And that is passed unanimously by the councillors in the room. We now go to the substantive as amended. Councillor Herridge, would you like to speak to the substantive as amended?
Yes, just quickly. Thank you, Mayor. I think it's timely to have the policy review come before us, which we're discussing a little bit later in the agenda, but mostly to thank our petitioners for actually bringing this to us. It's wonderful to see our community actually get involved in our process. I think that is awesome. And totally agree that we do need to look at the LTFP and bringing some of these things forward because they do sometimes get missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Parker, would you like to speak to this item?
Nothing further, thank you.
Do we have any speakers against the substantive as amended? If there are no speakers against the substantive as amended, councillors, please cast your vote. And that has been passed by all of the councillors in the chamber. We now go to Community Safety and Emergency Management, CPO 20525, City of Wanneroo Bushfire Risk Management Plan 2025 to 2027. Do I have a mover and seconder for this? Moved Councillor Figg, seconded Councillor Berry. Councillor Figg, would you like to speak to this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, through you. The only thing that I will say is that our administration, all of it that is involved in bushfire mitigation and dealing with emergency management in the midst of a bushfire is fantastic. It's good to see this one come to us, and I hope that we can, fingers crossed, go a few years without any major bushfires in the city. Thank you.
Yes, I'd agree with that statement. Councillor Berry, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Are there any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, councillors, please cast your vote. Yes, I know. So that has been passed unanimously by the 11 councillors in the room. We now go to Corporate Strategy and Performance, Business and Finance, CSO 10525, Financial Activity Statement for the period ended the 28th of February 2025. Do I have a mover and seconder for this item? Moved Deputy Mayor Rowe, seconded Councillor Wright. Deputy Mayor Rowe, would you like to speak to this item?
Only to commend the fact that it's high-quality report, as per usual.
Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add the point on thanking Ms Jennings for attaching the reserve balances under attachment 5. So I think this is a really good addition to the report. So every month we can see the transfers in and out. And I guess if there's any questions from council members, then at least this is the opportunity to be able to do that. Thank you, Mayor.
Do I have any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, councillors, please cast your vote. And that has been passed by every one of the 11 councillors in the chamber. We now go to Transactional Finance, CS 020525, Warrant of Payments for the period to the 31st of March 2025. Do I have a mover and seconder for the Warrant of Payments, please? Moved Councillor Figg, seconded Councillor Berry. Councillor Figg, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Berry, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you.
Any councillors have speak against it? There no one speaking against it. Councillors, please cast your vote. And that was passed unanimously by the 11 councillors in the room. We now go to CSO 3525, Proposal for Levying Differential Rates, 2025-26. Do I have a mover and seconder for this item? Moved Councillor Parker, seconded Councillor Herridge. Councillor Parker, would you like to speak to this item?
Not at this point, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Herridge, would you like to speak to this item?
Just to move for discussion.
Do we have any speakers against this item? Councillor Smith?
Sorry, question, Mayor.
Question?
Thank you. So my questions refer to some questions and answers that I submitted I got some answers and so all councillors got them in their emails this afternoon as well. So the first question I'm asking about pertain to some of the reductions that were proposed to reduce, I guess, the deficit. And one of them from, I think, Communities in Place referred to funding and sponsorship and grants, and that the reduction actually was to change a previous amended resolution to increase funding, if that makes sense. So I would like clarity about that one.
Ms Davis?
Through the Mayor, and thank you, Councillor. That is correct. There was this item came to Concept Forum as a policy, the community funding policy, where it was proposed to include an increase to the thresholds of the 3 different funding areas or programs to meet CPI. and we had a discussion around how that was benchmarked against other local governments. So those amounts were increased by $10,000, $8,000 and $2,000 in each. And as this was a discretionary service and we are trying to do our bit to provide towards a balanced budget, and considering that there hadn't been a historical reason for us to increase to that amount, we put forward those amounts to be considered as a budget reduction, amounting a total of $20,000. That was all that I had. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Ms Davis. Is that... You have another question?
Yes, another two,
Councillor
thank
Smith?
you. Probably a question to the CEO in relation, through the chair, if that's possible, in terms of that just kind of rang a little bit of alarm bell if that was a resolution of council to do that, for that cut to be proposed or things like that. So just wanted to get the CEO's thoughts in terms of that particular one. Thank you.
Mr
Just
Parker?
a point of order for clarification, Mayor. I'm not sure if we're talking about a budget that we haven't adopted as yet, and whether that should be taken into a confidential session.
Yes.
To assist on the point of order, I suppose the question, Mayor, is do the questions relate to material in the public-facing agenda or material that's not currently in the public domain? If it's on material not on the public domain, it would be prudent to go behind closed doors.
Yes, I think so. Can I have a mover to go behind closed doors? Moved Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Parker. Councillors, could you please vote on going behind closed doors? Councillor Coetzee? And that is passed by the 11 councillors in the room. We will now go behind closed doors. Okay, so Councillor Coetzee, do you want the doors open? And that's passed unanimously to open the doors. And that's passed unanimously to open the doors. Okay, we're back on air again. So we're talking about the proposal for levying differential rates 2025-26, which was moved by Councillor Parker and seconded by Councillor Herridge. Councillor Parker, you've spoken to this item? Yep, and Councillor Herridge. Councillor Miles said you wanted to speak to this item, is that correct?
Yeah, I wanted to speak for the item. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm happy to support the item that is being put up by administration. It is, as I've always said to residents throughout my wards, that this city should always be trying to achieve around or at inflation on an annual basis. We are very, very fortunate as a council that we have a lot of growth potential because of the natural growth within our suburbs. As we were told recently, I think one of the stats was last year some 4,000 homes were constructed. That's another 4,000 times the council rates, another 4,000 times of the levy for the waste services as well. And we would see in our documentation even tonight that because of that shrewd budgeting that we do on an annual basis, that we quite often mid-year have surpluses that we will then start putting into reserves to be able to then spend in our next year's budgets. So we're not actually overloading our community of unnecessary charges. So at this stage, I'm very happy with the advertising going out as depicted in the recommendation on page 687. Thank you, Mayor.
Any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, Councillor Parker, would you like the right of reply?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, councillors, please cast your vote on this item. And that is passed. We're waiting for one councillor. Councillor Herridge. Okay, so 10 councillors supported this, 2 were against, Deputy Mayor Rowe and Councillor Berry were against. We now go to Governance and Legal, CEO 10525, Amendment to Delegation 6.1, Policy Review Committee. Do I have a mover and seconder for this? Moved Councillor Wright. Who's the seconder for this item? Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is just following on from a previous council decision. Thank you.
Councillor Herridge, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Are there any speakers against? If there are no speakers against, councillors, please cast your vote.
No, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is just following on from a previous council decision.
And we now have 11 councillors in the chamber, and it was passed unanimously with 11 councillors in the chamber. We now go to CEO 2525, Submission Public Notice of Chief Executive Officers, KPIs and online registers. Do I have a mover and seconder for this item? Moved, Deputy Mayor Rowe, seconded. Councillor Miles. Deputy Mayor Rowe, would you like to speak to this item?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to this item? Any speakers against this item? Councillor Wright.
Thank you. I do want to speak against only for the part of not publishing the CEO KPIs. I also was not in support of that when the council submitted its views when the minister asked for the start of the reforms process. So I'm supportive of the KPIs being released to the public. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, would you like to respond to that, Deputy Mayor Rowe?
No, thanks, Mayor. The council is entitled to his opinion.
Okay, anyone else speaking against the item? If there's no one else speaking against the item, can we cast our vote, please? Okay, would you like to respond to that, Deputy Mayor Rowe? No, we're missing one. So 10 supportive, 1 against, Councillor Wright against. We now go to late reports on the supplementary agenda, which is MN 020525. Councillor Wright requests to bring LPP 4.3 Public Open Space to Policy Review Committee. Councillor Wright, do you have a seconder for this?
Yes, Councillor Herridge.
Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to this, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I don't want to talk too long on this. Obviously, it's just a simple motion to bring this for workshopping. I know a number of councillors have some concerns with the local planning policy around the provisions that are in our parks. So I think it's worthy to bring this forward for a discussion and hopefully come out with a new version of the policy to be able to influence our requests both from public and council members moving forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Herridge, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Mayor. In support of, and just in having a look at the recommendation, was wondering whether we have possibly a date missing of when this would like to be back for workshopping, if that needs to go in there. And item 2 says the committee meeting for endorsement. Should that be consideration?
Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. So the first recommendation recommends the next policy review meeting, which I believe is the 30th of June. And then the second recommendation is to bring back the final workshopped version of that policy to the next policy review meeting, which would be August, a date in August, I believe. So the 2 dates are already set within our diaries, I guess, of when the next policies committees are done for the year.
Okay, do I have any speakers against this motion on notice? If there are no speakers against this motion on notice, councillors, please cast your vote. And that is passed with the 11 councillors in the room. Urgent business, there is none. We now go to item 13, date of the next meeting. The next council members' agenda briefing has been scheduled for 6 p.m. on the 24th of June 2025 to be held at Council Chamber, Civic Centre, 23 Dundebar Road, Wanneroo. Item 14, closure. I thank you for your attendance. I now declare the ordinary council meeting closed at 9 p.m. Thank you, councillors.